Hello, I'm Afiniki Akanet, author of Life Without Coffee, Choosing Happiness Over Stress. Today we're going to be talking about a major source of stress for a lot of people, which is money, financial planning. I'll be reading from page 74 of Life Without Coffee. People's experiences and values make them who they are, but that is for them to know and for us to find out. Another example would be a man who chooses to buy cars, furniture, and gadgets on credit. He explains that he likes to have things now and finds it easier to pay monthly for goods bought than it is to save money and buy later. A spectator might feel he's living above his means and foolishly banking on money not yet earned. Another might feel that he's making the most of the lending available, while yet another might feel that this man is not disciplined with his spending. Especially in a society where many feel comfortable with debt, it is important to know what you believe on this subject so that you're not unintentionally drawn into keeping up with the Joneses. The man in this scenario might get a huge inheritance and clear off his debts next week, while a copycat friend remains in debt all his life, sadly leaving nothing but debt for his family at the end of his life. If having savings and good financial standing was not important to him, then he would have lived a good fancy life. But if this man valued being able to leave an inheritance for his grandchildren, he would not have died a happy man, all because he went with the flow of living permanently in debt. Some people define themselves by what they have or appear to have, so they would do anything to keep up a wealthy appearance, even against good sense. Others do not care what people think and may actually even appear to have less than they do because they buy only what they can comfortably afford, leaving spare cash for living. Some may prefer the stress of paying monthly for a brand new car over the stress of having a second-hand car. For one person, being in debt is less stressful than the perceived shame of driving a cheap car or living in a rented house. For another, financial freedom gives more satisfaction than driving a fancy car or having a house or mortgage. There's no right or wrong in many of such life decisions, as long as you're true to yourself and not becoming a burden to others or society due to poor financial planning. I'm going to stop there, but I think this is something a lot of us will have comments on, and it is a very personal thing. Our attitude to debt, what we think about taking credit cards, loans, mortgages, even buy now and pay later, sofas, TVs, all sorts. People get into debt in all different ways, overdrafts, So what we're talking about here is being intentional about it, doing your research, deciding what's important to you and which kind of stress you prefer. Some people prefer the stress of paying monthly to the stress of having a second-hand thing or a cheaper thing, or saving and waiting to buy it when they can afford it. Whatever you prefer, just make sure that you've thought about it, you've done your research, and you're doing things intentionally, not just following people, doing things because it's common and then ending up in a mess and being so stressed. I see people all the time as a GP who come in because they've made so many poor choices and it's led to so much stress in their lives and their relationships, and they just end up wanting magic miracle cures to sort out problems that they've spent years building in their lives. As we have a bit more time to think about things now during the current coronavirus situation, it's important to take some time to look at our finances, look at our budgeting, look at our spending habits and our attitude to debt to see if we can reduce our stress levels this way, so that when things go back to the usual, we're not carrying on with habits that are not good for us. Thank you very much for listening. As usual, please send your comments and emails. I love to hear from you. Until next time, stay strong, stay connected.